Et la table ronde est animée par Yannick Tranchier qui va se présenter. Voilà, je vous donne la parole tout de suite.
Merci beaucoup. Donc, pendant que les sociétés s'installent, je vais faire une introduction en français. On basculera en anglais, puisque parmi les trois sociétés présentes, elles parlent toutes bien anglais et l'une parle un petit peu français. Ce sera quand même beaucoup plus simple pour la table ronde de parler en anglais. Rapidement pour expliquer ma présence ici, donc moi j'ai une activité de développement de projets collaboratifs entre des startups françaises et des startups russes. Donc je connais relativement bien le contexte des startups françaises. Paradoxalement, je connais mieux le contexte russe et en particulier les mécanismes ou l'absence de mécanismes entre les universités russes et le marché et les startups. Donc ce sera intéressant justement, non pas de mettre en parallèle, mais plutôt de confronter les deux modèles, qui sont vraiment différents. Quelque part, on peut probablement penser que le modèle russe est simplement en retard par rapport au modèle français, puisqu'ils sont confrontés à des problèmes que l'économie française a résolu ou est en train de résoudre depuis quelques années maintenant. Donc concrètement, les trois sociétés qui vont se présenter sont assez représentatives justement du contexte russe, dans le sens où elles ne viennent pas du monde universitaire. En Russie, il y a vraiment un gap énorme entre l'université et le marché. Donc les universités, les chercheurs travaillent sur la recherche fondamentale. La recherche appliquée n'existe quasiment pas en Russie. Et donc ce qui sera intéressant, c'est de voir comment émerge aujourd'hui l'esprit d'entrepreneuriat en Russie, notamment grâce à des initiatives comme Skolkovo, et voir probablement l'absence d'accompagnement qu'il y a aujourd'hui, pouvoir le comparer avec l'expérience d'une success story avec un transfert technologique d'une université française sur un marché global. Voilà, donc we're going to switch English now, and each Russian startup will present and introduce his project, and then try to through some questions, and of course you're welcome to also ask any question you have about not only the project, but more importantly about the context and how to grow business and startups in France and Russia.
Je parle en anglais et pas en français. So our company was founded by two graduates of Bauman State University and a physical technical university. And now we work with leading Russian and Belarusian universities. And one of the problems is that it's difficult to work with universities directly because of bureaucratic problems. This is why we work with people. And but Moscow State University has also the business incubator. I can say that, commenting on the presentation, I can say that I think that managerial and technological innovations are both important, and without technology it's very difficult to make a true innovation. And in my opinion, technological innovations are probably better, partly better because it's more difficult to replicate them. And here in France, we present our KCP solution. It's videos. It's a solution for business analytics, which can be used in retail stores, supermarkets. It's able to using video analysis. It's able to count people and provide recommendations to analytics. Thank you. Merci beaucoup.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Dmitry, and I'm presenting my company Unicloud Labs. We are creating collaboration tools, cloud services in B2B segment. something where you could work together inside of your team of your company and between the companies, something like social collaboration tools with integration to existing cloud services. And we are Skolkovo resident in the first 100 of companies, and we was surprised then Skolkovo asked us to provide scientific innovation to our project at a must. So, as you may know, we have a lot of innovation, not in technology, but in the kind of use of our tool. For example, before our tool, companies automate only inside business processes, but with our tool, they could automate even business processes between companies. So this is the main innovation. But in the scientific language, this is not the innovation. So I think this is one of the problems to define the innovation for such companies like ours. And we are already working for transfer of technologies. We have a mentor, Professor Dr. Christoph Fetzer in Dresden Technical University. He's consulting our project. And now we are presenting our project for European Union here, and we are looking for some partnerships, some exchange of information and something like this. Thank you very much.
Bonsoir. My name is Andrey. I'm from Russia, so I'm presenting the project called Pirate Bay. So actually we try to solve the problem of online piracy, and also we try to lead, the customer to the legal channel. So it's a huge problem in the internet, as you may know. And so a few words about how we made a product. So actually, I live in Perm city, which is 1,500 kilometers from Moscow, and I'm in Skolkovo. So I came to Skolkovo a year ago, and so with our project, so we presented the project, and we received the support from the Skolkovo. You can name it as tax breaks and funding. And the Skolkovo helped us with with the help of Skolkovo, we eliminate the gap between the product development stage and the first came to the market stage. So they really supported us, and right now we are a profitable company with the revenue, and we are growing here in Paris. We are to establish partnership with different kind of players, on the market, with ISPs, with web advertising platforms, and so we can speak a little bit later about exact, the core of the help, in the core of Russian entrepreneurship and ecosystem. Thank you.
This is me again. I was invited to stay here as I'm currently leading a project which is called the Tree Rank, which is a project to create a startup in the coming weeks or months, which is about advanced statistical analysis. These approaches have been invented by researchers at École Telecom, and so I'm the business guy of the group, working with 4 other guys which are more mathematical experts, and I'm currently leading the team to figure out where is the market for their innovation, because it can apply to a number of situations, and so that's my first objective. And then, if there is some evidence that a market can be reached, then we will create a company and we will try and finance the company and leverage the assets which are coming out of École des Mines. And so I'm working first of all to see where the market is, and then I can leverage a number of systems which have been described here, which are surrounding the technological sources here in France.
Yeah, already introduced myself, but I maybe can do it just shortly in English. So I presented a startup that is issued from one of the schools of the ParisTech consortium, telecom ParisTech, and our focus is called quantum key distribution. That is a distribution of secrets based on quantum exchange of photons. Maybe you've heard of it, especially if you're in the security area. And yes, maybe now we can discuss maybe the business aspects or the environment.
Actually, the first aspect I think we should discuss now is the inception of the project and how, why, and when did you decide to create your own company? Were you encouraged by your professors back at school, by family, by I don't know who? Because we have entrepreneurship classes in France in almost all engineering school. I'm not sure it's the case in Russia, so it would be interesting to know why you decided to create your company. Then how?
Well, I think the most important fact is the ecosystem is at the universities. When you study at the university, you find some partners, and you create a team, and then you decide to start business even when during the education at the university, and I think now Skolkovo has some courses of entrepreneurship. It has a startup academy, but I think that in other Russian universities don't have such a good practice of entrepreneurship.
You know, it's very easy. I make my business to make money. Yeah, you know, I think it's the best way to do this because, you know, I think entrepreneurial spirit of somebody of you is inside of you, and everybody could create your own business. For me, it was surprising. I was going to this through working as a manager in different companies, and then I met the chairman of board of large Russian IT company, and he told me, why not to create startup with you? And I say, why not? For your money, I will take the experience to create a company, and we signed an agreement and created the company. So then after we created the company, we created the idea of the company, and then we came to Skolkovo just to try to get some support from the government to create a great company. So it was success too. And the main lesson I get from this is if you want to create something big, something successful, you just need to make the first steps, even if you don't know what will you do. So I think it's not very hard. You have just to make first steps. That's all.
Actually, I came to my project from business also. So I graduated in university, but I worked in a private company for several years as a manager, and so I kind of disagree with my comment. First, because I read that the average age of the startupper in the Silicon Valley is 34 years old. So actually, it's either a specialist or manager, but not the young scientist actually. And if you are a young scientist, it's kind of hard to build a company, even the global company. You have to have, the expertise, not the science expertise, but the business expertise. And the second, key point in the startups, successful startups, there is several guys, in team, and they should be from different parts, which is, maybe for really scientific project like quantum mechanics, crypto systems. Of course, you should have a really expertise, science expertise inside the business, but also you have businessmen that actually can transform the technology into the product and then to just drive the product into the market. So that's my point of view.
Thank you so much. In my case, I would say I can say a couple of things. One is about TreeRank itself, and the other one is about those hyper-growth SMEs which I mentioned in my previous development. If you look at this second group, so those French high-speed SMEs, the reason why the founders created the companies, there are two main reasons, and money is not the driver. The two reasons are either these guys wanted to be at home, basically they wanted to have their own stuff and do things the way they thought it should be done. So in that case, they create a company. They're ambitious guys, but their objective is not to become the world leader and so on. They just want to have a company where they can drive it the way they like it. And the second one is people do create a company because they have a vision and they're very ambitious. They want to swallow the others. Basically, there was a guy in garbage collection, as an example, he wants to eat Veolia. So he will fight until he finally kills Veolia out of the market. And eventually he'll do it. The second thing is, on the TreeRank case, the company, as I mentioned, is not created yet, but the environment of all those startups which are starting from technological ideas, there has to be a scientist or a group of scientists who have been involved in the stuff. And then you have two cases. One is, one of these guys wants to create a company and leave the labs and drive the company. Or you don't. So basically you have a group of scientists who have created the stuff. They would like a company to be created, but they will not jump out of the university because they feel they are professors and that's where they are and so on. And we are in the second case. Both cases have advantages and issues. If you have a scientist who wants to leave the company, very generally speaking, what will materialize, except for exceptions, is that the guy doesn't have all the skills, and if he wants to drive it alone, he will fail or will run into big problems in the end, because he needs to team around with guys who have more business experience and so on. But it's good to have this guy in the company if he's flexible and fit enough for a business environment. If you have the guys who have created the technology and who don't want to leave the lab, then you have a problem, because if you're going to create a company with just a business guy, as I am in that case, it's not enough. You need to have technical skills which do understand the technology and make it a technical product in the company. So which means in that case you need to find another piece, which is a technical business guy who will come and match with the researchers and match with the driving business guy within the stuff. So both examples have an issue in our case. If we want to go ahead, we will have to find a CTO, a chief technical officer, who's been involved in statistical tools and so on, and who will understand the science and benefit from the advice of the scientists. But in my case, if I'm driving that stuff, A, I will have to be convinced that the market does exist, and B, it will be to do things my own way.
Yes, so I mentioned already how the idea of creating the startup came. It was basically, it's true scientific emulation, so it's true our startup is very technological and scientific and very scientifically driven, which leads probably to make mistakes. And also has advantages is that you can bring talented people together to really make a very strong technology, and which is valuable, which is at the moment technology is clearly our asset. But one of the difficulty of what we are doing, quantum distribution, is really to go into a market, security, that is a difficult market, especially when you want to replace existing technologies, because typically you're coming with something very new, and in security, things have to be tested for a very long time before people switch. So we understood this after time, and so we have an approach that is at the moment a slow approach. We have now a product which is already a success. We have some customers around the world who want to buy this product, but more in the R&D area. And to mature the product, clearly we have to team up with someone big. François, I think he mentioned that successful companies have to meet up with big groups, and that's typically for the case of our technology is probably what we need to do. yeah, also about the starting the company, because yeah, I was very enthusiastic at this time, and probably we did it too quickly, and I think the approach he mentions, and I'm also in Telecom ParisTech, and I know about this project. It didn't exist at this time, or I didn't know, but this, I should say, indeed, I think, is very. It's a great opportunity for a researcher if you can team up with a very experienced professional, and you can decide basically whether there is a market. So we did a bit in a different way, and for example, what we should have done probably is to create the company a little bit later. We could have because it's not good to create very early, because basically then the clock starts ticking and it's not the best solution. But in the end, it's not very important as well. But we could have done it a little bit differently. So, well, that's from my experience.
So the comparison actually is interesting, because we can see that in Russia right now it's more an opportunistic philosophy, driven by money and business opportunity during a professional career. Very few times it's driven by the university itself, by students. Just a quick remark about the Silicon Valley. If the age is 34, the average age is 34, it's because the student and the young graduate understand that they need more mature and experienced people. So when they start the business, there is a very young and an older guy. So the average, of course, is in the middle. It doesn't mean that there's no students.
So situation 20 years old and 50 years old and the average is.
And actually, it will lead to the probably last question, because I think we're running out of time. Is about coach, mentor, and all supporting activities and supporting services, which is well established, I think, in France, and that's why we can take the time to think about the future business and build a business plan, which is not really the case most of the time in Russia. But I would like to have your opinion about this support you receive while creating and growing your company.
We have in our company we have some mature managing partners who have already successful startups, and they provide the mentoring to young specialists. But I think that Skolkovo has some good specialists. And there are education programs. This is why we have collaboration with Skolkovo, and they provide us provide education skills, but of course they need. I think there should be some good cases and examples. Which we can follow to build our companies. And for example, many Russians, Steve Jobs is the excellent example of entrepreneurship, and many Russians try to follow his example.
For me, I believe the force which drives the company is the main founder. It's for me, and the management of large projects before I started my own business told me, if you don't know something really good, just find somebody who will help you and who knows it better than you. It could be your mentor, for example, it could be a consultant, it could be an employer, it could be anybody. For me, I have found a lot of such people who, of course, agree to help us. It's our investors, it's my friends, it's all the community of startups. Anytime you come here, you are finding new friends, and they help you creating something new. And I think the mentor are important, and to listen them is very important, but you have to do what you and only you really think, because nobody except of you will answer about the results of your business. So I think mentors are people who create new points of your thinking, but they can't do your work for you. What's important? Yeah.
Yeah, actually I agree, because in my opinion the best mentor is life itself. So if you go out, you know, and under the rain without umbrella and get wet, it's, you know, better to, you know, you could have 100 mentors that tell you put umbrella with yourself, but when you get under the rain, you know, it's more effective to learn. But still, actually in my opinion, the best mentors is your future clients. So you just go to your future clients and, you know, talk with them, and they will get, you know, they will tell you all about the market, about, you know, competitors, and but also in our case, so the key point is, of course, to be focused, very focused, because the mentors they try to, you know, to push you to the directions according to their experience, according to their vision, and it not always you know, the good advice. And you have to listen, but you have to be focused on your vision. Of course, your vision could varies a lot, but still, you know, you drive the product, and so it will be a time when you could say a mentor no. So yeah, I won't do that. And also in our project, we have a mentors in a very special area which I have no any experience, is a GR, government relationship. So I'm kind of afraid of all the interaction with bureaucrats, all the, you know, these big letters, and, you know, a kind of process of interaction with the government. Of course, as a CEO, I respect the law, and I you know, write down all the papers. But when it comes to ask something from government or even to demand something, it's hard. And we have brilliant guys that with experience with the government relationship, and it's very special skills. But the main mentors is the, you know, future clients. They teaches you every day. Thanks.
And I would like to add some words about Skolkovo. You know, Skolkovo is a very interesting project in Russia, really, because we have a lot of bureaucracy in our country, but in Skolkovo it's very small amount of bureaucracy. This is true, and everybody could confirm. I think it's really very unusual project for our country. Thank you.
For example, it took maybe several tens of minutes to fill the application for Skolkovo, and it's the first ever, you know, in my experience, it's the first ever kind of governmental fund or like a organization, government organization that actually accepts the online applications.
Thank you. I will be very, very short here, because I think everything which has been mentioned before is true. As an entrepreneur, you need to make mistakes, and you learn from mistakes. And all the high-growth SMEs in France told us that, you know, not daring to take a risk is worse than taking a risk and making mistakes. So you should make mistakes. I think one of the key values of mentors, and wherever you find those mentors is up to everyone to find out, is that as a CEO you're very lonely. In the end, you decide, you make the ultimate decisions. When it's, you know, very, very grey, you don't know where the future is and so on, you have to make your decisions in the end. And sometimes it's good to have some guys to speak with when you're very much alone, and you just take point of views and you make decisions in the end. But it helps to have that way out, because you can't speak and you can't share your uncertainty with your employees, because that's just spread uncertainty and it's a disaster in the company. So that's why also mentors can have value from that point of view.
Yeah, very quickly. So in our situation, we don't really have a mentor, but it's clearly true that I mentioned Philippe Rangier, which is in our board of advisors, who is a very brilliant and famous scientist, and he's a very, very good support and very effective support. He has ideas, he has contacts, and he contacts that really he understands what we do, and this is very valuable so far. And the environment of ParisTech and Telecom ParisTech has been also very valuable for us. At the very beginning, because we were not very skilled in creating a company, and we had many discussions with Armand, and it was very useful. There are dynamic people doing this, and it really helped us. And also we clearly at the moment benefit from the environment because we are still at the school, and we can share research facilities, which is a huge added value.
Was wrapping up, so now it's your turn if you have any questions.
Some questions and reflection on the innovation in the economic world, which was the title of our exchange. We must be ambitious and have a wide vision in order to serve the world completely. Our new product, our new innovation must be patented also globally, which is infeasible, and we must develop product which will reach the market very quickly and eventually substitute to other products because of the rupture that they represent. May I say, as an example, as in my experience, that I am the world inventor of the GPS navigation systems in cars. Wolf, the man is evolved for man. This is what I lived. I had to attack 11 times in court, win 10.5 actions in order to win some money. The first company that signed was Philips after 12 years of waiting. So when you develop a new product, the big companies may not like the new product because it's different. So there are many difficulties, and you must be, I finish with that, you must be innovative with patents. When a patent is granted, it is granted for newness because it is totally new in the world and totally inventive in the world. Therefore, your product must be marketed totally in the world. This is my next project.
May I add that Mr. De Villerocher has been becoming a rich man because his first invention made me some millions of euros, I know. But it was interesting for him to remember these last inventions. Je crois qu'il y a une autre question là. Oui.
Thank you so much. I'll do it in English. I really enjoyed very much what you just said about the ambition scale that we have to have. And I also enjoyed a lot of the day-to-day. It was a great day, great presentations. But you confused me with two things. You did fantastic things about doing mistakes, and it's better to learn from mistakes that you've done somewhere else than for your own. But also, I didn't understand very well when you mentioned that you helped OSEO to scale down what they were giving to startups. That was scary for me, definitely scary.
I didn't have. They did so. But
okay. Because I misunderstood then. Because I have done a survey. I work for a very nice startup dealing with a brand new loyalty scheme that will be addressing the worldwide railways, including the Russian railways. So we could meet afterwards if you're interested. It's dealing with virtual currencies and loyalty schemes, which will be a breakthrough worldwide. Nevertheless, I have here a study that we've done with les conseillers du commerce extérieur, which is a French institutional body. And I agree totally with the second part of what you've done by mentioning that capital for startups was very, very crucial. Basically, if a startup, after 3 years of existence, has started its business with just 2,000 euros, there are 60% of chances that he will be surviving. 60% for 2,000 euros of capital. If the same company had 20,000 euros as first capital, after 3 years there will be 70% chances that he will survive. And if the same company had 80,000 euros as a capital, there will be 80% chances that it will survive. So the capital launch at the very beginning explains a lot of the length and the life cycle of the company. The other thing is we made a survey, still with the French conseillers du commerce extérieur, and we realized that there were after 7 years, which is the statistics that you've used, after 7 years the French company was just having less than a couple of hundred employees, whereas the UK equivalent companies, after 7 years, were making 6,000 employees. So we were doing 600 to 700 employees, whereas 7 years later, the English companies were making 6,000. So a ratio from 1 to 10. The same of the creation of capital, a ratio from 1 to 10, again, between the French SMEs and the English SMEs, just because of the start. And if you look at the fiscal, the attributes given to the finance and the fiscality that you will be facing as a pigeon, as he mentioned, as a stakeholder, as a shareholder. If you look at the UK compared to France, in the UK you can invest up to £1 million, £1 million, and you get exemption taxes up to £1 million. In France, the highest you can go is 20,000 euros, a ratio of 1 to 50. And the only way to get above 20,000 exemption tax is if it's you're investing into jeunes entreprises innovantes, which I am. I am a jeune entreprise innovante. So definitely there is a link between the legal framework, the fiscal framework, the capital put at the very early stages of the company, and I have all the stats to show it, and the success of the company, and then obviously the ambition of the creator. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
I can send the slides, obviously. I will give you the slides afterwards.
Any question to our participants to this round table? Maybe ever about Russia or stuff? So
I have just a note to show the difference again about the taxes. So in Skolkovo, actually, you can the taxes is 3 times less comparing to the typical companies, and actually it's up to $30 million a year. You can, so it's the actual amount of the taxes breaks for a company. So the company sells, for example, in $30 million a year, and so they don't pay taxes for the income at all. Zero.
There's no pigeon in Russia, especially not in Skolkovo, because Skolkovo is a special economic zone, so it's zero taxes, zero custom, almost zero social charges for 10 years, I think.
Yes,
so
it's
like CIR plus JEI for 10 years and even much more. So it's a huge amount of money invested in Skolkovo. That's how now Russia is trying to attract technology and startups to the Russian market. Any question maybe left? Or are you all too tired and thirsty and hungry? We should proceed to your conference.
Well, I I can add that we inspire you to start businesses in Russia, and also regarding mentoring, I'd like to say that sometimes you need to follow your intuition and probably sometimes simple decisions are better than difficult decisions.
Ça sera le mot de la fin. Si vous avez des questions, de toute façon, on est tous à côté pour y répondre. Merci beaucoup.
Merci à tous.